Welcome to Dear Romance Writer. We're three writers who always deliver happily ever afters, offer questionable advice for all of your relationship, work, and life problems. I think I'm Zio Axelrod.
I'm fairly certain I'm Roan Parrish.
I've been told I'm Avery Flynn. So I think it all mixes together. We have a really fun show for you here this week, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And it is just the three of us again this week. So you've got a lot of silliness and confusion ahead.
Yeah,
Yay.
for sure. Oh my goodness. Okay, so before we get to our question of the day, just a quick reminder that we just celebrated our 50th episode and we're doing a giveaway where you can win 25 books and a $25 gift card to Barnes & Noble. So to enter, all you need to do is send us a letter asking a question for us to answer and give you some of that questionable advice we were talking about here on DRW. So send your letter. You can email us at, what is it, advice@dearromancewriter.com. Is that right?
You got it. Oh my gosh, we really are. You guys, we need keepers. Okay, send your letter for advice at advice@dearromancewriter.com.
Yes, or you can slide into our DMs, or you can send us a carrier pigeon, however you want to enter to ask us your question. We are willing and open and able and ready, and you could win. So, get on that.
Make it happen, people.
Do it now.
All right.
Well, wait, hold on real quick. I have a question. What if someone wants to send us a letter for advice about somebody else?
Ooh.
Would we accept that? I think we would do. Well, pseudonyms or my best friend's little sister's cousin has this boyfriend and he does this thing. I think we would totally be down with that. Yes?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious to see, like, for 25 books, that's like a mini library and a $25 gift card. I feel like I'm excited for some shade. Like, I want petty, I want huge, I want tiny. I don't care what the scale is. I don't care if it's about you, your friend, your dog, your neighbor. I feel certain we'll have opinions about all of them.
Speaking of dogs.
Yeah, speaking of dogs. Sorry.
I mean, I know our listeners have some drama. I don't know why they're so shy about sharing it with us. We're very kind. We're very soft and gentle with drama.
We are.
We've
told people to fuck straight off all over the place.
Don't scare them off, Avery. I'm trying to lure them in.
Yes, your letters also can be totally anonymous.
Yes.
So if you want, you can just hide behind any name you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of having no name, do you like that segue?
It's good.
Here's a letter from someone who didn't sign their name because it's an advice column. So this is from Asking Bear by S. Bear Bergman. And the title is, "Oh no, I'm losing interest in my partner."
Uh-oh.
Dear Bear, and this is kind of a long one, but I think the details are important. Dear Bear, I am in a relationship and I can't tell if it's struggling or if I'm self-sabotaging. There are two major factors: multiple stressful life events and my own lack of emotional depth and or emotional self-awareness. I am not
pretty self-aware, actually.
I know, right? I am not very self-aware in relationships, and I see the good in anyone. I'm someone who likes having roommates since I like most people and can accommodate others while also communicating my own needs. Good for you. Relationships work similarly, but I lose interest quickly. When I came out and started dating women, I felt like I was feeling love for the first time. I was vulnerable and open. Now that I've been in my relationship for over a year, I'm feeling less and less attracted to my partner. I'm a little bit worried that this means that the disintegration of feeling is a part of every relationship, regardless of whether it's with men or women, or that I'm actually not a lesbian. I feel less and less emotionally involved in my relationship. All the feelings that felt vibrant and sharp and clear before are now faded and blurred and muted. I can't figure out why. I'm disappointed to feel my attraction to someone who I felt deeply attracted to at the start of my relationship just evaporate. Somehow I feel like I'm just bored despite my best efforts. Attraction, love, and intimacy are slowly fading from my life. Am I just too emotionally disconnected to have an adult relationship? I don't want to break up with someone this amazing because I'm stuck doing a slow emotional ghosting of my own relationship. Or maybe adult relationships are just about love and devotion and not lust, and I'm confusing all of those things for each other. Maybe this is happening because I don't like the idea of emotional intimacy after the honeymoon phase, and I'm slowly and painfully turning into my lonely, yet womanizing, emotionally distant father. So a lot going on there. I love that this letter writer was like, in case you wanted, I could just give you like 25 options for what might be
25, yeah. No
multiple
kidding.
choice. It's a multiple choice question. And I love how I'm not self-aware, but here's all the self-awareness that I have.
Yeah, exactly. Number one, I think we can all go with this letter writer who we love and adore. Could potentially be an overthinker. Possibly. What do you guys think?
A little bit. Smidge.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
The first thought I
Okay.
had was that this person is in love with the idea of being in love more than they are with whoever it is that they're with. And I think that quick burst, that like nervousness, that exhilaration or whatever is the part that she's in love with rather than the actual relationship. So I mean, it could be that she's not a relationship person. She could be someone who's not meant for monogamy. She could be whatever, but I don't think it's a fault or anything like that. I think, especially since she's aware that this is what she's going through, I think it just could be that she's just built differently than what she thought.
That's
which
true.
is not a bad thing. So
Yeah.
Did she at any point in time say how old she is or like how many relationships she's had? You know what I mean?
Yeah, she started saying that she started talking about like middle age and adult relationships. So I wonder if she had been.
Yeah, but some people think 30 is middle age.
yeah, I was gonna
Right,
say
but
some people are like,
They're
I'm 22 now,
weird.
I'm old. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like she used to date men and for a while and then started dating women. So I imagine that she's like at least in her 30s.
Okay.
But yeah, don't know.
Yeah. I mean, nothing stays gold. All right. Let's go back to the outsiders. Nothing stays gold. Right. So there are all of that initial excitement and the butterflies and
The honeymoon
like,
phase, as she calls it.
yeah, the honeymoon phase, when somebody walks into a room and you can't even think about what you were thinking about because you're just like, oh my God,
There they are.
there they are. It's them. Right. And yeah, that goes away. And I think that's why my favorite hands down relationship advice, like romantic relationship advice, is it's not about whether you love the person. It sounds counterintuitive. It's not about whether you love the person, it's whether you like them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really crucial because the love you need, but you need the like more, because there are those ebbs and flows. There are the times that you're like, oh my God, if this person walks in this room one more time and asks me the same damn question, I am going to murder them in their sleep. Right. You need all of those things. And it also, to me, feels like this letter writer is being hard on herself because it seems like she's taking, at least to me reading through this letter, it seems like she's taking on a lot of the, I don't get the bubbly, super honeymoony feelings, so there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't take it as there's something wrong with our letter writer. I take it as this is just one of those things that's part of relationships. And if what you find attractive and exciting and amazing is that initial factor, and not necessarily the long-term haul, that's fair enough. That's all some people want. But my advice would be, she's been in this relationship for a year. If this is the only red flag, that's a big caveat. But if this is the only red flag is the fact that she can still hold a coherent thought while the other person is in the room, give it another 3 months, give it a little bit more time, and then sort of take a step back and look at it, because there's apathetic, there's can't stand the person, there's this has gone on too long, and then there's we're just in that weird in between phase, and I'm not sure what it is. It's that come down from the honeymoon phase, and there's definitely that. So Yeah.
And I found myself wondering, like the part where that she put in about how she really likes most people and can get along with most people. To me, that's actually the problem, is that, or I think that's the root of the problem, is that if you're someone who likes almost everyone and can get along with almost anyone, that means you could have a relationship with almost anyone you just find attractive because you like almost anyone. So if what's happening is that you're really easygoing, you like a lot of people, and then you meet someone who you're like, oh, I like them just like I like everyone else, only I'm super hot for them, then of course what that's going to create is like you like them the same as you would like anyone, and you're really attracted to them, which means that the second that the attraction starts to ebb a little bit and you start having more time where you're just with them, you are coming to realize that the way that you like everyone is probably a little bit superficial, and that you don't have enough information of the specific type to know if you want a relationship with someone. And so I think one of the things that I would recommend going forward is, it's not like it's bad to like everyone, but if the way
I was gonna say, I'm feeling really called out right now.
wait, you don't like everyone, do you?
I would say that, yeah, most people I'm a go on until they give me a reason not to be.
Okay. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with liking a lot of people. I think though that if that's your default, that you like a lot of people, then what you need to find is someone who you like more than you like a lot of people, like a lot more. And it's like, if that kind of, if your bar for do I like you isn't that high, or like you're, you just don't not get along with people, then I think start asking the kinds of questions that are going to delve a little deeper from the beginning of becoming friends with someone or dating someone. Because
I have a question. Keep going, and then I have a question.
Okay. Well, because then I think that what you'll be able to do is more successfully parse who are the people that I just like and am friends with and am maybe attracted to, which is great, or versus the people who I like and am friends and attracted to, and we have started to form a deep, intimate connection, or they've answered questions about what they're like in relationships in a way that I know that that's who I need to separate them from the people like everyone else that you just like. Because Avery, I would imagine, and I'm curious to hear, like, if you give everyone a chance until they stop you, there still is probably a variation, right? There are some people who you like them fine, but you still have like best friends who you like even more than that, or a husband who you like more than that, right?
Maybe. No. So, well, first I want to get our definitions right, because I want to make sure that we're both talking about like and like, right?
Okay.
This is okay. So when you say if you're somebody who likes a lot of people, do you mean like as in just a general likes people, or do you mean somebody who's like constantly, falling into lust or getting crushes, or are you talking like?
No, I'm talking like as in you enjoy most people, and if you were at a party and you chatted with everyone, you would like more than like 70% of them.
Okay, so yeah, I am definitely that human being.
Yes.
But to me, the liking and the attraction and the wanting to have a romantic relationship, those are all three completely separate things. And then you add in friendship, and that is a fourth thing. So, I mean, I think that I would say, yes, I probably will go into a room with a party and chat with people and walk away thinking that 75-85% of the people, I'm like, oh, they're so nice. I like them. Right. And that's just who I am. Now, if I'm going to walk away from that party and say 75-85% of the people, I'm like, oh my God, they're so much fun. I can't wait to get on the phone and talk to them and become their best friend. No, absolutely not. Like, I hardly talk to my best friends because that's just me. So yes, I think there's a difference between somebody who walks into a room and looks at it and says, these are acquaintances and I am positive about these acquaintances, which is, I guess, kind of how I took her letter.
Me too.
And so that's my personal bias, right? So I just immediately went, oh, she's in that same little category that I'm at. But Yeah, I find that interesting. And I wonder how much of your bias comes into it too, simply because I know you're like, I like 3 people and I'm okay with that. Right. Which is just a complete anathema to me. But I think it's interesting.
I love
And
how I'm like
I
right in
do,
the middle of both of you.
you
That's so
really are.
funny.
You really are, Zio.
To be
I
fair,
think you're
I don't dislike everyone. I mostly say that as a joke.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
If it was like a random sampling of the whole universe, I would only like 3 people. But if it was like a writing convention, I would like 70%
Right.
of the
Well,
people.
Yeah,
I think when we go to those though, I think we're automatically, and maybe that's part of it, is that's a lot of the times where I spend social time, is that we already have things in common with folks
Right.
like that,
Mhm.
right? So we
Yeah.
already have
At least
some
we hope so.
base to
Yeah.
talk to, but that's interesting. I don't take it that way, that you know, if you like a whole bunch of people, even in an acquaintance way, that it may be harder for you to find a relationship, because to me all of those are different compartments. They don't flow together, right? They
Right.
are different rooms. There's a
Right.
hallway, but there are doors.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to me, I'm like, you can have all of those rooms in your house
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
okay.
I totally
Um,
agree. But I do think that, like, if you're a woman and many of your friends are women and you date women, those rooms are like, that's a shotgun house with no doors between those rooms. And once you walk, you can just see everything all the way down to the end. And the line between friend and lover is much fuzzier. The line between, do I want to be that person or am I attracted to them, are much fuzzier. And the line between an intimate friendship where you think the person is physically attractive and wanting to date someone is just much fuzzier. And so I think for most of this question, it doesn't, like, her sexuality doesn't matter at all, because I think it's the same thing. But I do think that I totally agree with you, Avery. It's not that, like, being someone who's generally affable or like open to seeing the good in anyone makes you a bad judge of character at all. But I do think that, especially for like a woman dating other queer women, that is it's really hard to gauge the separation between those things. Because if you're someone who, like, if you're a woman who likes men and you have a really close friendship with a woman and you're like, I just want to hang out with this person all the time, and like we hug and we cuddle because, sure, like while we watch a movie, and I think she's really beautiful, that could be, we are total friends, and of course you can think your friends are beautiful, but those feelings feel really close to liking someone if you like women. And I just think that, like, this is a person who, I'm guessing, obviously I don't know, but I'm guessing that she would do better if she would more clearly define those rooms in her house for herself, so that she can maybe not just act on this person is great and I'm really attracted to them, with missing the part that's like, am I sure that this is like a romantic thing, not just a friend that I'm hot for?
That's why I say, so that takes me to my piece of advice, which is actually a piece of advice that you've given, Roan, many times, which is date yourself.
Yeah.
This sounds like a person who doesn't know what they want from a romantic partner. Like
it's true.
they become friends with people and they're attracted to them, and you can be attracted to people without dating them, obviously. But it just sounds like she hasn't figured out what she wants from a partner, and so she's like, I like this person, they're cool, and I'm attracted to them, so we're gonna date. And it just goes from there, and there's no self-awareness in that respect, in terms of like, what do I want from a partner? What do I expect? What I want in the long term in a relationship? Do I want to be in a long-term relationship? Like, all of those questions sound like they haven't been asked or answered. And so I think this might be a moment. And I'm really curious as to what her partner feels, how she feels about the relationship, because it sounds like she's questioning herself, but has there been any chatter between the two of them about, okay, things aren't going the way we thought they were going to go? Because it sounds like, everything is great. I'm the one who's sort of like dipping out, and so I'm really curious as to if she had a conversation with her partner, whether her partner would say, yeah, I do feel you pulling away. And this
or
is
if the partner is pulling away.
Or if the partner is pulling away, which she may not be aware of, and maybe that's why she's not feeling it. The line that gets me, though, there's 2 lines that stuck out to me. One was, where was it? I lose interest quickly, which is to me, which what I said before is you're in love with the idea of being with someone rather than the
Or the
person that you're with,
chase.
or the
That
chase.
chase.
The other one is attraction, love, and intimacy are slowly fading from my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the attraction that's fading from this relationship. She's not feeling the love, which is
Yeah.
a much stronger statement than attraction and intimacy. The love thing is really, really stuck out to me because it's like attraction fades, ebbs and flows, like Avery said. But love, that's a big one. If you're feeling like you're not loving this person as much as you did a month ago, then that's a whole different story.
Well, and the other question too is by intimacy, is that what she meant? Or does she mean I still love this person, but I don't feel connected to this person, which I think, that happens as well. And
those are huge. Those are bigger issues than the whole like hot and heavy for each other all the time thing. So I think if they can't come to an understanding where, okay, we've hit this wall, can we dismantle it or get around it, then it might be a time to step back and say, you know what, I need to be by myself for a while. I need to date myself for a while to figure out what it is that I want for my life. And that sounds like that would be the advice I would give to this person if they were going to end this relationship, or even like pause it. Say, I hate to be cliche, let's take a break. You know what I mean? Like, give me a month or whatever it is. But it sounds like this is some self dating situation here.
I think so too. And I think I totally agree that being really clear about what you want in a relationship and communicating that to another person early enough on that they can say like, okay, cool, well, I can't give you that, or like, that's not me, is really important. But sometimes you don't do that, right? Like, so what happens when you get into a relationship like this, where it's been a year and maybe you didn't do those things at the beginning and now it's not working? I think that like, if she just was like, I don't care anymore, then I'd be like, okay, you don't care anymore, go to break up with her.
Yeah.
But it seems like what this person is saying is like, my partner looks great on paper. There's nothing wrong with her. So there must be something wrong with me for not having feelings about her. And it's like, dude, lots of people look great on paper. Like, online dating is people who look great on paper. And then you meet up with them and you're like, oh, this person has every box ticked that I asked for, but all of them are ticked and it adds up to a person that I find unbearable. So like, just because someone else is great on paper and you don't like them doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means you're not compatible. And if you don't take the time to figure out where the distinction is between, I like this person enough to just be a casual friend with them and they're hot, so why don't we start dating monogamously, and dating around and actually having those conversations where you're like, I actually am still learning what I need in a relationship. Like, will you tell me about some of the relationships you've been in? Like, what role do you take on in a relationship? I'm curious what things would be like between us. Like, you can do that with your partner of a year, not in the same way, but like you can go out on another first date. You could be like, hey, let's do the New York Times 26 questions to fall in love, whatever that thing was called, on a date. Like, I think if you want to break up with her, break up with her. But if you want to try to save the relationship, not because you feel guilty, but because you think there is something there, then I would say step one is try to restart this relationship and be like, hey, it's been a year. I don't, we're not quite as intimate as we once were. What would you think about trying to kind of like get to know each other again? I mean, we're probably not the same people we were a year ago. Let's talk about it. And then if that doesn't work, if you don't think you're compatible, if it doesn't go well, then I'm team breakup for sure.
A question, because something else has jumped out at me. So she says, when I came out and started dating women, I felt like I was feeling love for the first time. I was vulnerable and open. Do you think this is the first woman that she's dated?
I get the feeling that she started dating women not too long ago and realized that what she felt with them was categorically different, or maybe the way she acted or was able to act with them was categorically different. So she thought, oh, this is it, I'm a lesbian. And now she's like having the same problem with her current partner as she probably used to with men. And she's realizing that, I mean, what she should be realizing is that it's a universal problem. I think what she is realizing is that it's a specific to her problem, which is the opposite of the right thing. But I don't think she's been dating women for like a decade.
No, because it just feels like this is her first serious relationship with a woman. And she says, doesn't she say like, am I a lesbian? Later,
it's making her
she's questioning everything. Like, that's why, again, it goes back to your thing, date yourself, figure out what you want, who you
Well,
are.
date yourself. And the
Yeah.
universal in relationships of all types is that at some point in time their work. Romantic relationship, friendship relationships, parental relationships, sibling relationships, anytime you have to deal with another human being, at some point in time, it's work.
I wouldn't say that any of this makes her, she says she's turning into her father.
No.
I don't think that this is
No.
no.
Not knowing your dad. We still don't think that's it. Okay, so that has me thinking.
Yeah.
Here to segue into our chat time is, would you rather be alone in a relationship that doesn't feel amazing, or wait,
Alone.
would you rather be alone, or there's your choice, or be in a relationship that doesn't feel amazing? And have you ever written a character
Can I answer?
into
I know
that
Roan's
situation?
answer.
I think
Roan's
everyone knows Roan's answer. Roan's like, leave me the fuck alone unless you're amazing. Bye-bye.
That's correct. Yeah. But lest I come off sounding like some sort of like Lemony Snicket-esque villain, I do want to be really clear. It's not that it's not that I think people suck or that I'm like mean to them or anything. I love people that I like. I just would so much rather be by myself than be with someone that I don't actively really, really like. Not because those people suck or are boring or whatever, but it's like, there are just things that I like and things that I don't like. I love having deep, intimate conversations with people. I love learning things about people. I love doing activities together. But when it comes to just like acquaintances or dating casually, someone who it's not really going to go anywhere, you're not interested, to me, it's not a priority for me. It's not that I think it's like a bad thing in the world. It's just, I know my life. I know what I like to do. And so I don't want to waste my time or anyone else's with a relationship that I'm kind of like, if I would rather be by myself with my cat than go out with you, it's never gonna work ever. So I would always rather be alone. Also, being in a relationship that isn't good, and obviously good relationships still have problems and complications, but being in a relationship that isn't good is the loneliest feeling in the entire world to me.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, have done it, would never choose it again. I would rather go through the messiest, hardest, heartbreakingest breakup and then be by myself than be with someone who makes my life either the same or worse than when I'm alone.
Yeah, same, hard same.
So this makes me think of 1.5 million years ago. The half is important. So 1.5 million years ago, I worked with someone and her parents, very happily married, loved each other to death, lived probably 4 hours apart. Amazing. I actually just stuck it into a book because it has stuck with me for so long, but that was their relationship. So it was, again, I always just found that completely fascinating because I'm like, I don't know if I could live in that type of relationship, but I get you can love people and know that they aren't somebody that you can have in your daily life, right? So I always thought that was really interesting, and that sort of fits in along the line of, would you rather be alone, or would you rather be in a good relationship, or is there that weird middle spot where you're alone but with the person? And it's sort of like, a lot of people have long distance relationships. A lot of people have relationships where one partner travels constantly.
That's what I was gonna say, like musicians, actors, if they have a life partner, they spend an inordinate amount of time apart, which is why so many of those relationships don't last, probably.
Yeah,
but the ones that do, you're like, wow, how do you do it? You guys are living in different continents for half the year. Like, how do you do it?
It's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's such a great point, because so often people think that they only have an either or choice, when actually it's like there are as many relationships and ways to have a relationship as there are couples. And if you want someone, but you want them in a different way than like what people assume you want, that's great, as long as they want the same thing. And it's good to bring those things up, I think.
What's that societal portrait of relationship and what it looks like? And proximity is a big one, right? Like you live in
Oh
the same
yeah.
house and you share the same bed, and there are couples who can't sleep together because
Right.
one of them tosses and turns all night and the other one, you know what I mean? So like there are people who have separate rooms, and it's like, oh my goodness, they must have a rocky relationship because they don't sleep in the same bed. It's like, no, we just like to sleep.
Yeah.
We like getting rest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we're at the point now here in the 21st century where people are starting to see that there are other just starting to see that there are other, ways of being together, but it's we still have a long way to go before all those
Well, and
old start to
the
fall out.
mores of how to showcase the perfect relationship have changed so significantly,
Mhm, mhm.
right? Separate bedrooms, not separate bedrooms, one giant bedroom for the whole family, right? That was also your living room, and the goat was in the corner, right?
Yeah.
So there have been a million things like that, marrying for love, that is still relatively
Yeah.
as far
Oh,
as
what
people with money.
show was it that where
But
they
yeah.
first showed the couple in bed? Because I remember the whole thing about I Love Lucy where they slept in separate beds. What
Yeah.
was the show where they slept in the same? Was it Brady Bunch or something like that, where they slept in the same bed for the
Well, I
first
know
I
time?
don't remember.
in Dick Van Dyke, they had twin beds that were
Yeah.
next to each other.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the Brady Bunch. I don't remember. I think it was around that time though. I think it was.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking it up.
It was an article like a couple years ago that was like, did you know that the first show there was show a husband and wife in the same bed was
Uh-huh.
some random show?
Well, there was one show also. It was the first show to show a toilet, like to have a bath.
Oh
Like to
yeah.
actually show a toilet.
Wasn't it like a law procedural or something? It was something like we're so weird. We are such a
People,
weird.
we are such fucking prudes.
All right. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
According to the television trivia books, the show that holds the distinction of being the first television program to show a couple in bed together is dun 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 dun, dun the Flintstones.
The Flintstones.
Okay.
Wow.
That doesn't count in my book.
All right, and then somebody
Cartoons
keeps
do push the
also
envelope on
mentioning
every
Mary Kay and Johnny, but I don't know which show that is.
Mary Kay and Johnny.
Me neither.
Yeah, hold on. I'm looking. Anyways,
Mary Kay, I think of like makeup company.
it was 1947.
Whoa.
Yes, and it was Mary Kay and Johnny Stearns. Showed them sharing a bed, and they also worked Mary Kay's pregnancy into the show.
What?
Yeah, it was a whole. That was the name of the show, was Mary Kay and Johnny.
That's why it's been stricken.
And then I Love Lucy. They famously slept in separate beds when it premiered. However, the show did eventually get around to the double bed.
Okay.
In 55.
Wow, cool. That's earlier than I thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ozzie and Harriet also same bed. So there
Really?
you go.
Oh
yes.
My goodness.
And then the Flintstones, Bewitched, The Munsters, Green Acres, Brady Bunch. Oh, Green Acres. I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head for the rest of the day. So there you go.
All right. Cool.
We have really gone down the left side. Completely off the map. I like it.
It's so good because it's like it goes back to that. What is a relationship?
Exactly.
And the letter writers like experiencing those. Like I'm not sure what I want from a relationship, and so it's all part.
I would also say with the question, looking at it from would I rather be alone or be in a relationship? That's amazing. I think there also needs to be, you have to step back and figure out what is amazing to you. Does it have to be amazing all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Can it be amazing 75% of the time? Can it just be good 100% of the time? Is it Domino's pizza or is it the best handmade New York pizza you've ever had in your life, right? So which works for you?
Yeah
it is interesting.
I think it's interesting too, talking about like the differing mores of relationships. Us as romance authors, I think, are constantly negotiating this, right? Because there are books that are specifically about non-monogamy or about multiple partners, and people who like those books can choose them specifically. But I think that there is still a real preference in readers of romance for like recognizable to them and to the genre styles of relationships.
Yeah.
And I've totally had books where I wrote like what was a more complicated or more not like completely exactly hitting all the steps couples. And some people loved them and other people were like, I couldn't deal with this. Like, I don't want to read it. And it's interesting because the books that people have said that about, in my mind, they were completely and totally like happily ever after relationships. And I was really surprised
Yeah.
to hear people having negative responses to them. But I think like it's understandable to me because if your idea of what a relationship is really static, then anything outside of it, even if for me, I'm like, well, sure, if that's the relationship that those two people want, then it is a
Yeah.
happily ever after.
Yeah.
To them, they were like, but that's not my happily ever after. So it doesn't feel like it doesn't catalyze the feelings that I usually want to feel from a happily
Yeah.
ever after. And I think that's such an amazing, like, it's interesting to learn that about yourself as a reader.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, wow. Well, good luck to the letter writer. Hopefully she can figure everything out and get her happily ever after, or at least
There
be
you
happy
go.
for now.
Yes.
We root for that, for sure.
Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us for another episode of Dear Romance Writer. Don't forget to enter our giveaway. You can send us your questions to advice@dearromancewriter.com or DM us, or Telegram. Do they still do telegrams? I guess they do telegram. Whatever way you want to contact us, we are willing and ready and able to hear from you. And we can't wait to give you some questionable advice from this trio of happily ever after enthusiasts. So we will see you next time.
Thanks,
Bye,
y'all.
y'all.
Thank you so much for subscribing to Dear Romance Writer. Remember to keep sending in those letters at dearromancewriter.com. We can't wait to tell you what to do. Dear Romance Writer is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Find more podcasts you'll love, frolic.media/podcasts.